All right, now we're on to the attack. Now, unfortunately, this attack is going to be theoretical. I'm going to walk you through every single step that we would take all the way through the exploit, but the exploit's not going to trigger or fire because we're running in Docker. Now, the issue here, if we scroll down, and you can see it says, please note XXE challenges described are not available in Docker container or Heroku. So the other methods that are available for installing are incredibly complex, especially on a Kali machine. And it's just not worth setting everything up for a course and going through all the trouble just for one demonstration. So I'd rather just show you kind of how it's done, walk you through it, and then show you the picture of what it would look like if it triggered. I think the methodology here is important. So looking at our exploit, all I've done is saved it. I put it on my desktop. You could put it wherever you want. You can call it whatever you want. Mine is called test.xml. And again, we're calling out this file etc password, and we're going to do it for the and XXE here. So from here, let's go ahead and go over to our Juice Shop application. So go ahead and go to account and log in, and let's make a new account. So we'll go ahead and just not yet a customer. Let's go ahead and do that. And we'll just call this test. I'll call it testing at test.com, and we'll just say test 123, test 123. And then our eldest sibling's name is Bob, or middle name is Bob. So log in there, or register there, and then let's come in and log in. And then we're going to go ahead and take a look at the application. Now, this is what is called authenticated testing. We are at a middle user or a regular user between here from unauthenticated to an admin. So we're kind of in between, right? On this account, we should navigate around and see what we have access to. That is my first methodology when I get access to a user account. And if you're doing web application pen testing, again, you're going to be given two accounts, usually two roles. One is going to be admin, one's going to be non-admin, and you're probably going to test unauthenticated. Now, I've seen a bunch of roles before given as well, but typically it's two. Sometimes there'll be more. But what you want to do is go around and see what you might have access to, right? Where are your pages? What screens do you have? What can you do? And I like to go through and just, click on anything and everything that I see a link for. The nice thing about Burp Suite is with Burp Suite, we can come in here and we can go right click and scan if we had the pro version, which if you're doing pen testing, you will. Your job should pay for it. And so you would do scan, you would crawl the website, and it would find a lot of these links for you. So it doesn't hurt to navigate around. It doesn't hurt to understand the application, how it's running, what it's doing. That way you have a good feel for it, right? So from here, we're just going to abuse an upload feature. So if we go to the complaint section over on the left side, we see that there's a file upload feature. Now, anytime I see a file upload feature, I kind of drool a little bit because I get really excited about it. And file uploads can be very devastating if they're not handled properly for a web application. On top of things that we've already seen before when it comes to file uploads and executing malicious content on websites through the middle capstone of the course, right? We here can also upload XML files, and we can upload malicious documents and try to dump sensitive information, get a shell. There's a lot of things that we can do. At a bare minimum, we should see if the upload feature is functioning the way it is. Even if we can't get a shell or get anything out of it, can we bypass what it's trying to do? So here you're going to see that this is going to be trying to only allow for zip files and PDF files, but we're going to upload an XML file, and it should blacklist it, but it doesn't. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to browse, and we're going to go to root or desktop for me. And then you're going to see here, it says all supported types. Well, all supported types are PDF and zip, but I'm just going to go all files and say, I want to do the test XML anyway. And I'll just say test. And what's going to happen here is I'm going to go ahead and intercept this request. And I'm doing this because I want to see the response in case I need to tinker with this. So let's go ahead and submit. And then I'm going to send this to repeater, and we can take a quick look at it. So in repeater here, you can see that we have our test.xml being uploaded and the XML version 1.0, same thing. We have our XXE entity and we're just saying, hey, I want to call system and I want to call this file from XXE password because we are attacking a Linux machine. So here we see the call of the XXE. We would execute this, and if this were a real web page that was vulnerable, you would see some sort of printout of the XXE password file. Now, I have a video of this on my channel on YouTube that I'm just going to show you a quick picture of. I'm going to show you a stopped image. So if we see here, when we cover XXE, you can see that right here in the juice shop, look what came through. You see this part? XXE system quote file, and then guess what? Once it calls that ampersand XXE, you see here root, you see user sbin, and it's cut off. It only allows for so much. We'd have to finagle this a little bit, but this right here, you could submit to a client, you could submit to a bug bounty program. You can say, look, you are vulnerable to XXE. This is what it is. So what's going on here are these DTDs are being allowed. These external entities are being allowed and through this parser, and we're able to just push this through. So what is the solution here? How do we defend against this? Well, we need to disable completely these DTDs, these external entities. Once we disable that, you're not going to see this come through at all. And it's going to look almost similar to what you're seeing here. We just don't have the ability in Docker to do it. Okay, so we would never know. If I saw this when I tested it, I'd be like, well, okay, that exploit didn't work. I might go more through those payload lists that I showed you and see if we can't get that to work, or try different things to see why it's not working. You should never give up on the first go, but at the same time, you know, this isn't showing me that it is exploitable, where if we looked at the other image, it did seem like it was. So hopefully that is a good example for you, understanding how and why we did this. We're taking and abusing the XML feature, the XML parsing feature of a website. So because of that, we're able to upload a malicious XML file and bypass, by the way. So this bypass is a finding. Regardless if we had XXE here or any sort of a malicious ability, this is a finding in itself, and this is a pretty big one because we're bypassing what whitelisted extensions they had originally. So I would mark this up as a finding, and this would actually be even something that you could submit on a bug bounty program to get a bug or money from it. So that is it for this lesson. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one, which talks about broken access control. I'll catch you over in that video.